All right. Hello, everybody. Good evening. My name is Kuen, and welcome to Courageous Conversation. I have here with me Miss Shalini. So let's have a little chat a bit, Shalini, while we wait for all the audience to come in. Oh, still got zero, so we wait for them to come in first. Right. So how are you, Shalini? Had your dinner 9:30. Normally it's after dinner time. How you, can you hear me? Uh oh. Is it? Hey everybody, if this is your first time, please say hello in the comment section. I would
I'm
love to
very
hear from
fine,
you.
Mikwen. Have a pleasant day.
Awesome, awesome. Sorry, the connection's a bit slow.
Yeah, I
Join the
had
flow a
mine
bit.
earlier state o'clock.
No problem. So if you're here, please say hello in the comment section. Hey Uma, ha! Wow, Uma is here. Uma, hey, hello. Welcome, welcome. Awesome. So today we're going to talk about a very interesting topic. And now, and the thing is, with courageous conversation, I just want to share with all of you, the audience, why I came up with this, and I'm so thankful to you, Shalini, really, for you coming on board because courageous conversation is, it's scary. For me, I want to talk about topics where people don't really want to talk about. That's why the name courageous conversation. That is what really inspires me because the whole idea about courageous conversation is for healing to happen, you have to have the hard topics. You have to talk about the topics that people don't talk about. So that's why I'm always, looking for people who dare to come onto live shows and we talk about it and discuss, in a very, of course, respectful manner. But we have to talk about it, right? So that is how the idea came about. For me, it's just about breaking that barrier because I find that being courageous is very important. All of us needs to be courageous, right? And having that conversation is needed much so, because Malaysians, we don't like to speak up a lot too much. We like to, like we are very, we don't not confrontational, so to speak, but I feel that not being confrontational is good sometimes, but not so good sometimes as well. So here I am, having this conversation. All right. So I'm going to introduce. Thank you so much for whoever is here. I'd love to hear from you. Say hello in the comment section. So let's introduce the speaker of the day. I am so honored to have Miss Shalini Ganesan. She is the founder and president of the Wild Malaysia. I tried to pronounce it properly. I don't want to butcher it. Okay, so I'm going to introduce a bit about her background. Okay, so Shalini, she started her career with Star Publication as a reporter. So her background, in media and PR is very vast, lah. Okay, so and some of you might actually recognize her if you watch news, right? She was a former newscaster and news producer with Bernama News Channel. So she's a pro lah. I asked her just now, hey, how to how to sit down, nervous, what to do, and all that, So yeah, and of course, and also she served as the senior events officer at University of Nottingham. So that's something interesting as I was, reading out about you, Salini. Wow, like okay, for 6 years, and that's where you pick up the leadership skills, of course. And now she is the principal trainer and talent development director at Aspire Learning Academy, and she's a trainer, right? Certified trainer. And she has developed signature trainings, include PR skills, women in leadership, and developing emotional intelligence for success. Right. So as I mentioned just now, she is the founder and president of Young Women in Leadership and Development Malaysia, and it's actually an NGO dedicated to educating girls, to become healed humans and to break gender stereotypes, which I absolutely love. Selling it really is not like okay, and to become agent of change. I was like awesome, okay. And some of her past personal achievement, she actually has she has healed her own generational trauma by breaking free from a traditional conservative mindset, because actually family is the one which is the hardest to break from, because you actually grow up with certain mindset and belief system. So I love it that you actually put this here. This is your achievement. Most people might not put it, but you put it right. And of course, founding an NGO which is in line with what she believes in, while Malaysia, and organizing a women in leadership bootcamp in 2020. While all of us are trying to figure out, what's happening with the pandemic, here this amazing woman, she actually organized a bootcamp. So crazy stuff, Salini. So yeah. Hello everyone. Hi, Mayan. Mayan's my cousin. Anju, hello. Hi, Shri. So yeah, so we say hi. Some people, hi here. Everybody like okay, right? So Anju is here. Anu, hi, Anu. All right. So okay. So shall we begin? Shall we begin the conversation, Shalini? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? I know I already started, but please share with us what
Hey, thank
inspired
you
you.
so much. Thank you for the lovely introduction. I really enjoyed because like even sometimes when we go for the seasoned speakers punya show kan, it's like the introduction is never this nice or compact
Oh,
and it was really good. Thank you so much. And yes,
welcome.
I would say that's the first step I took to find my voice, to break the stereotype um, that really, really molded me into who I am today. So I think that starts with the boundary setting. So I think it's very, very interesting, and hats off to you for bringing up this topic. This is a much needed topic for all of us to actually um, crack open and talk about. So let's get started. I'm so
Yes,
excited.
absolutely. Parents and boundaries, right? So I was like, oh, I know,
Yes.
like when I posted this, I was like, am I going to, create some waves there? Okay, so yeah, so tell us actually, the audience and myself, what is your personal definition of boundary, of a healthy boundary? You can share with us.
Well, I think healthy boundary, I think the definition differs from person to person. But for me, right, it's actually, I see it as a very sacred space that I create for myself. Oftentimes,
Mm,
people think boundary is about the other person. Actually, no,
yes.
boundary is
Uh-huh.
about us, myself.
Correct. Yes.
So, I have lost many relationships due to that. I will explain to you as we go along. But I think that
Oh.
sacred space that you create for yourself, that means
Mm-hmm.
I simply don't want to engage in certain dynamics of a relationship, of any aspect of life. That is what boundary, healthy boundary means to me. It's about me, lah. So it's never about the other person to begin with.
Absolutely. Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
And so boundaries. A lot of people actually have a confusion because setting boundaries is seen as something, what I observe is seen as selfish. It seem as like, oh, you're so selfish, and so all sorts of labels. They have labels about selfishness. Oh, so arrogant. Why you so full of yourself? That kind of thing. So, yeah, I mean, why do you think that comes about? Do you feel that is it because of people don't know really what healthy boundaries is, or is it because this kind of people are not used to other people setting healthy boundaries around them? There's so much stigma around boundaries actually.
I think, right, you're so right. It's about the fear. And I think, end of the day, right, all of us are, sorry to use this word, lah, but we are actually enslaved with all kind of attachments.
Mm-hmm.
We need validation. We seek
Mm-hmm.
approval. So we
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes fear of losing some kind of attachment, some kind of love, validation from the so and so person. That's why
Mm-hmm.
I think we don't want to talk about boundaries or even to set boundaries. We think so many times, and
Yes. Oh
like you
my
said,
gosh.
people will just label you. Oh my God, this person is
Yes.
so arrogant, so
Yeah.
self-absorbed. So I came to a
Mm.
point, right? I thought, call me whatever you want. You know, if you want
Mm-hmm.
to
So
see
many
your,
names. Oh my gosh.
if
Mm-hmm.
you want to see your angel shining, you have to be the devil first. So I don't mind.
Oh, I like it. You want to see the angel shining, you have to see a little bit of the devil. Awesome. So I'm going to put up a question by Amarjit. Thank you, Amarjit, for tuning in. She's saying, but in creating these boundaries, does it hurt others along the way? Are you pushing them away? So what do you think, Shalini?
Okay, I think definitely yes. And setting boundary, right, is never an easy take, yeah. Of course, it's a
Yes.
very uphill task for anybody, even for like seasoned people who are like very much matured. It's very difficult. But this is a question that you have to ask yourself, Miss Amarjit. When we think about others, right? I can give you some examples like how some people they must have been in a marriage for a very long time, say like 2 decades. Only after that they realize, oh my God, I have not been real true to myself. So
Mm-hmm.
when you have been wasting all those years in the fear of hurting others, you have been actually punishing yourself. So you
Mm-hmm.
have to ask
Absolutely.
this crucial question to yourself: is this what you want? Is hurting you? Is that what you want? And hurting another person can be painful, but then you will actually come out very. bold, you will come out courageous, you will come out very authentic if you do that. So I think it's time to think about that lah. Yeah.
I would love to add as well,
Yes.
with what you said in Amarjit, it's yes, you do push people away, but the right people will stay because the right it's sort of like a filtering. I like this because healthy boundary is actually filters people. The right people will stay. The people who respect you truly, they understand. Okay, this is my space. I'm not okay with it. It's not personal. Those who are emotionally matured will know because I mean, all of us have boundaries. I think it has to be respected as well. But yeah, you will push some people away. That's the biggest risk. I think why people don't do it is because you will risk losing people. You will risk losing friends. You will lose. I mean, family is a bit hard. That's why I put parents and boundaries because that is the hardest. Well, it's not that you can lose them so to speak, but you can maybe lessen the connection a little bit. And even that in itself is a whole different topic if you want to talk about that. That's another day like bullying within the family. That's whole other topic. But yeah, absolutely. I think there's a big risk. That's why boundary setting is very tough. Thank you so much for your input. So I have another question from Sabna. Hey Sabna, welcome and thank you. So she put this. So how do you deal with narcissistic people on boundaries?
I
That is
think
interesting.
that's another
Haha.
topic altogether.
Altogether, yeah,
This,
Sapna is another topic altogether actually.
I think
So,
Sapna has just given you idea for another topic,
yes,
another episode.
definitely another courageous conversation that will create waves. So, maybe a quick summary. I mean, what do you feel in your experience dealing with people? I'm sure you have dealt with people like that.
See, narcissistic people are very unique, very unique in the
Mm-hmm.
sense they will often project their insecurities onto others, whom
Absolutely.
we call as victims.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is, we all call ourselves adults, yeah? So this might bruise some people's ego, but I really want to
Mm-hmm.
talk about
Please.
this. Yeah.
Yes.
See, when we say adults, we all think that, oh, wow, we are adults, we know everything. Actually, we are
Mm.
just traumatized children who have these, big toes, big feet, big hands, and we are just walking around handling our own child inside. And I think
Correct.
narcissistic people are that child, the
Yes.
children, lah,
Yes.
the
Yeah.
lost kind of children. We are also still children. We are learning. At least for those of us who are talking about boundaries, we have awakened to at least another notch, another level,
Yes.
to actually address our mistakes, acknowledge our mistakes, and accept it. Whereas
Yes.
narcissistic will never do that. So don't talk
Yes.
about boundaries with them because they don't even know what is that. You have to educate
Yeah.
them or you have to stay
Mhm.
away from them.
If they want to be educated, by the way. So that's the biggest
Yes.
one. Oh, that one is crazy
Yeah.
because it's
It's,
oh,
that's why it's
it's
another
like
topic altogether.
I know. So
But it's
awesome.
a
Thank
good
you, thank you.
question. Seriously good
It
question
is.
by Sapna. Yes.
Yeah, thank you,
Because many
Savna. Thank
people
you.
do face that.
Yeah, actually many. Yeah, awesome. So maybe you can share with us your personal experience growing up, right? Do you have trouble setting healthy boundaries with your family? Because the topic here today is parents and boundaries. How do we learn boundaries from our parents, and why do us adults have so much problems with setting boundaries? Because to me personally, I feel that because we learn it from our parents. So I would love to hear your take on this. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think it all starts from our parents. There are two things here, two perspectives to my experience. One is,
Mm-hmm.
yes, I'm not very happy that certain things that should have stood up for myself, I didn't. And certain places where I should have said no, I didn't say no. But another perspective would be that parents don't even know what is boundary because they grew up in such environment. They grew up
Exactly.
in yeah, like big families, mixed families, and all this, right? So there's no such thing as boundary. Everybody, like, they can easily step on each other's toes without even feeling a thing. So that's
Mm-hmm.
not boundary is not even a proper term, or they just don't even use the word very
Correct.
frequently. They can say privacy, but again, privacy and boundary is a whole different thing, lah. Because they have to first realize what is it first. So growing up, right? I would say I didn't have much space for that. Like my siblings, we don't even know. Like for example, right? My mom used to actually force me to go to temple. That's like one
Mm-hmm.
example I can pick up.
Mm.
Um, it's like, see, being religious and spiritual also two different things. I didn't want to go to temple for certain reasons because I don't believe that those who are going to temple are not like saints. They're going there not to do all the good stuff. They also gossip. It's actually a gossip hub if you go to temples. And
Ah, I
so
see.
that's what I picked up as a child. I saw that I don't like the environment in temple per se.
Mhm,
So I
mhm.
actually avoided. I think since I was a child, I did know about boundary, but I just didn't know the term lah. So
Yes.
I actually express it through my action. But then right, I got scolding lah from my mom. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it's sin if
Oh.
you're not going to temple. It's like not good. Then it's a lot of things. And we have this reward and punishment system where they will guilt trip us for not doing so and
Mm,
so. It's like
yeah.
I was like, so I had to do certain things, despite my liking. So yep, that was
Yeah,
my
yeah.
experience.
And that's where the term rebellious come about, being
Oh yeah.
rebellious. So I mean, I think being rebellious also is part of growing up. Actually, it's I've read some articles about it. It's part of growing up. It must. It's because we are trying to the dynamics start to change as we go, as we mature like into adults. So that's why teenagers is the most precarious time, especially with adults and parents and children, right? So yeah, and how do you see this translating into your adult, personal relationships, or maybe career with colleagues? Do you see, what happened in your childhood? Did it affect you? Do you have problems trying to adjust into building healthy boundaries? Did it really affect you?
I would say it did affect me. Not only at workplace, like I think from growing up in, especially during my teenage time. Of course, we all used to have boyfriends, right? Before our real person, we used to have
Mm-hmm.
boyfriends. So I actually didn't know how to set the boundary in order, in the sense that we never say no. It's like we let
Exactly.
other people take our time. We
Mm-hmm.
let other people step into our space. So all those
Mm-hmm.
things would have been easier if we would have been raised in that
Yes.
aspect, by
Yes.
setting clear boundaries and healthy
Mm-hmm.
boundaries. It's like
Correct.
boundaries seem as a very sinful statement lah. So I think we have to break that particular thing first. We have
Yeah,
to crack
the
it.
mindset.
And
Absolutely.
especially when it's like when I went to work, it actually followed me. The pattern sort of followed me. So that was the worst
Yeah.
part. Because
Yes.
work, you can be a rebellious, whatever, teenager, child, whatever. But then when you are into your adulthood, when you go to workplace and all that, you are
Mm-hmm.
meeting. We think we are meeting adults, right? We are confronting adults.
Oh.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's the most difficult place. And I thought, I started questioning myself, like, hey, why the person is acting this way? I didn't know that the person was actually trying to set a boundary. Or if I don't like certain things and I want to set a boundary, the person looked at me like, oh my God, this girl is very arrogant.
Ah, I
This
see.
also happened in my university where people looked at me like, why this girl is arrogant because I don't want to participate in certain things. Doesn't mean I'm
Mm.
arrogant, but I just don't want to engage in certain activities because
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
respect my likings, I honor my worth. So people
Yes.
can't take it. It's not
Yeah,
easy.
yeah, yeah. So it's why that's why for me I see the pattern. A lot of what happens into us in adulthood is actually coming from childhood. So that's why it's so important for us to take ownership of our wounds and actually heal them. It's very important. But more so actually as parents, as in I'm some of the audience here are parents here. It's why I put this topic out is because we need to be aware, we need to be healed, we need to stop the bucket stops with us, our generation. We need to change the conversation, we need to shift the mindset. So that's why this came about, right? So thank you for sharing. So was there any specific experience until today you can actually remember that your boundaries you can really like sort of like see it like wow, you're really pushing it? Are you comfortable with sharing like maybe a personal experience where like that I mean was there backlash which even you felt unsafe? Because one of the things about boundary is a risk is one thing, but it can have physical risk, it can have emotional risk, psychological risk, and so many risks. But actually physical is one, physical and verbal like abuse lah, physical abuse, verbal abuse, mental abuse, that is the risk. So have you ever come across in your experience that kind of danger when you try to set the boundary?
Meko, I think thank you so much for this question first because many of us go through this. but I think many of us also brush it off. I
Yes.
personally experienced this, and it's not only physical, yeah. It really kind of shake your core, you know.
Yeah.
This happened a couple of years ago. I think I have to mention it here. It was caused by a group of friends, so-called
Oh.
friends. So they were colleagues, and then they turned friends. And I really hope they are also watching this. See, when I tried to set the boundary, which I knew if I set the boundary, it is in the interest of everybody. So it was not
Ah.
at all a selfish act, even though
Mm-hmm.
people look at it as a selfish act. So I did it so that each
Mm-hmm.
and everyone can have healthy space, and we
Mm-hmm.
can have our own zone and space and time to think and reflect, you know. But what happened there was I was accused of, being very self-absorbed. Um, People call this thing, they used to say, "Hey, you know what? You changed."
Yeah. Oh, that term. Oh,
So
you've
deep
changed.
inside,
Ooh. Okay.
I was thinking to myself, yes, I changed. Of course, I changed, but I
Mm-hmm.
changed for a good thing, for a good cause. And
Of course.
I was
Yep.
evolving. So something within me was actually battling to come out of. It's like I was shedding my own skin at that time. This was
Yes.
when I was like 27, 28. Now I'm
Yep.
35. So
Yep.
you see the journey I came across, right? So I was like thinking, hey, why are they labeling me so and so? You know,
Mm-hmm.
whereas what I am doing is only for my own mental sanity. I'm
Of
doing
course.
this for my health, but I
Correct.
was not even given the space to do so. But when I came so far from these people, um, it's like, because when you are befriending some people, right, you are like always you want to be genuine.
Of course.
So
Yeah.
when you are genuine, you will feel the pain, because you have actually withdrawn from the situation, and it's actually
Mm-hmm.
very painful, not easy, because I was genuine with these people, but I didn't know after I withdraw whether these people were genuine with me in the first place. So that took
Okay.
me a lot of time, a mental, I would say it was like emotional turbulence for 3 years.
Oh
three
wow,
years
that's long.
I wish I
Yeah.
knew you
Wow.
back then. I would have done some healing. But yeah, it
Uh,
was not easy, Nikon. It was not easy. And then,
yeah.
I had some good friends who are like still until today, they are my support system. They used to tell me, hey, Shalini, you are worth more than this. And exactly
Mm-hmm.
like what you said just now, right? They always also believe that the right people will stay with you. The right people will not question you if you are drawing that healthy boundary.
Mm-hmm.
So when this thing happened to me, I asked myself this question: are you willing to trade your self-worth, your self-care, your what do you call, your authenticity over somebody else's emotion? Are you willing to trade that? If your answer is yes, then go ahead and do whatever you want. My answer was no.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Good.
not willing to trade
Yep.
my self-worth. So I
Yep.
told myself, okay, when the respect is no longer served, take your dignity and leave. It's
Yeah.
okay. It will be
Yeah.
painful. It
Absolutely.
was painful. It was literally like I was walking on eggshells.
Mm-hmm.
So, but end of the day, it was all worth it. So take
Yeah.
it from me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing. It's again, this is a public space, and for you to share such vulnerability, that takes courage as well. So really, thank you. So absolutely. So it comes with risk. It's. I like what you said. Are you ready to are you ready to trade that? Because everything is a trade. And I think most of us, we were taught when we're growing up never to always think about people. Always think about people. Especially, I feel as women, we also it's the subconscious. Always serve others, always help others, always but
We
about
have
ourselves,
been
oh nothing.
bulldozed to do so.
Yeah, well, I like bulldoze even stronger word. But for me, it's like wow, brainwash also another word actually. But yeah, so you see, when it comes to ourselves, it's like oh, thinking about ourselves again. There's all the labels, lah. So I absolutely like what you said. It's are you ready to trade that and like a self worth, right? So yeah, that's great. So let's see some of the comments here. So Sapna says, I have so much issues with my kids and boundaries, especially now when they were outdoor kids and now indoors. Yeah, Sapna, that's why I say as parents, this is the hardest to really teach your kids boundaries and for them to respect because kids are the best teachers. I really feel children are the best teachers. It really teaches us to of course be patient. I think one thing is to have absolute zen patience. I don't know how parents do it. I really respect everybody who is a parent, and boundaries is the important thing. So Maybe Shalini maybe can share what do you think Sapna can do as a mom. She has, I think, young kids, so at the very testing age there. So what do you feel now? How can we give her that kind of input? What can she do with her kids to set boundaries and to ensure good boundaries, like not over boundaries where it stifles them, but boundaries which is flexible and healthy. Do you have any feedback on that?
Hmm. See, I would say this from a parent perspective because I deal with such parents who have issues with their
Uh-huh.
teenagers. So maybe I
Uh-huh.
can say for teenagers. I'm not very sure about the kids per se, but maybe I can share something very general.
Sure.
Like what I see, right? Especially now that yes, when kids are indoors. Okay, this is a very simple thing. Imagine if we as adults we are struggling like nobody's business to actually
Correct.
have boundaries, and we are witnessing so many separations, divorces, and even like parents and children, siblings. We can't get along. It's very difficult.
Yes.
I see how some house like literally on fire because of all these things.
Oh, yeah.
So imagine kids. Just imagine. Put yourself in their shoes for a while. And imagine if you as a child, right? If you are being you are put in a very confined space. You are not given opportunity to explore much, because this is a time where their creativity will be exploding, and they
Yeah.
are now confined in a very small space, maybe with the environment which they don't really favor, and that's why we send them to schools, tuition, play schools, and all this playground and all that. Now they have to be indoors. Can you just put yourself in their shoes for a while and think? Maybe they are very much limited. They are suppressing a lot of emotions because they can't speak up. At least we can speak up, but we don't speak up. Children can't speak up. They can't express what they are going through in their own minds. So you have to give them a little bit of breathing space. I think that will help. Or if
Mm-hmm.
you have like children who are like maybe 9, 10 years old, you can talk to them. So
Mm.
don't actually suppress them. Don't actually I mean, not to oppress them lah. Don't put them like especially this reward punishment system. I think we slowly need to stop this thing.
Mm.
It's not
I
going
like
to
that.
work because
Yeah.
it's very much it's a trauma that we are carrying. We are all carrying the trauma. We
Yeah.
have
Yeah. Like.
seen it and it didn't work. So why are we repeating the same? That would be
Yeah.
my question. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you. So my input would be, for Sapna, it's that like I think young children they cannot express. So when they cannot express, then they have a lot of outbursts and a lot of emotions, big emotions. I think it's being able to converse with them and do a little bit of fact finding. Like, do you feel this way? Okay, do you feel that way? What's happening? Like that. Of course, they have to consequences. There's always consequences if they act out of, like, if they're very disrespectful, they do something really bad. It's about, yeah, they have to understand why they have to have consequences, for example time out or something like that lah. But the idea is they have to understand why, because I think most parents, right, especially when we're younger, they just punish us but they don't tell us why. Because yeah, if you do act out of very bad, disrespectful and everything, there must be consequences, of course, but they must understand their behaviors, why. If they go out of boundary, let's say they cross the boundary, for example, why did it happen. So yeah, it's a very, that's why I say it's a very delicate matter. So yeah, okay, so yeah, so thank you so much for
I think
that.
it's a case to case basis, and there is no
Yeah.
one size fits all. No, especially with kids.
Yep, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Right. So, yeah. So, wow. Let's see. You'd be surprised. Sapna, she said you'd be surprised how matured for kids 4 years. Yes, I absolutely agree. I think kids these days they are so smart. It's not like us back then. Oh, you cannot fool them, right, Sapna? You really cannot fool them. They're so smart. Like, you cannot get away. So they will catch
I
you,
think
especially when you do something.
can use it
Yeah.
to advantage. We can talk.
Yeah. Yes, yes, they can converse very well. So yeah, so thank you for your inputs on that. So Parimala say hi, everybody say hi, Miss you say hi also. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, all right. So tell us about your work with your NGO. You work with teenagers and their families. So what are some of the things you have observed? When it comes to boundaries. I know you mentioned just now a little bit. But what are some of the things you've actually observed, and sometimes it scares you as well?
Oh, yeah, there are so many things that scare me, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay, this is the thing commonly that I observe, lah. Parents, okay, we had this problem in our times, and it's repeating.
Correct.
So the pattern is
Okay.
sort of repeating. It's not stopping yet.
Okay.
Parents think they own their children.
Mm.
There's this thing, right? We all have to learn. I mean, parents are only a medium that brings children to the world.
Mm-hmm.
You're just a medium, but they are different entity. They are different individuals. They have different set of likings. They have different sets of everything. Their soul,
Correct.
their mindset, everything is different. They cannot
Okay.
be you. So please, please, I'm begging every parent, don't do that to your children, because um, you're only feeding a poisonous mind. I would say this. Why I'm saying this? Because the child is going to grow into an adult who's also going to carry the same pattern that you have done upon them, and it's going to continue for generations. Is this what we
Mm.
want?
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
And I
We have to
I
think
like I like what you said that parents sometimes they do think that they own, and absolutely true. I think that's why I think parents they are our guardians. You know, they guide us. They are our guardians, but you cannot say own because own is like I own you. You know, like because yeah, and I think some of the mindsets like that because parents do invest in their kids, but they invest in their studies. That's why I think one of the things as well, it's hard, especially as growing up. Let's say if you want to be a musician. Oh, I think in most Asian families, the musicians like what? Are you? No, no. You know, like artists, no, cannot. You know, you must be this, whatever lah, doctor lah, architect lah, engineer. You know, so even that is a boundary. Honestly, that is also a boundary. It's a life changing boundary. You know, it's like
Hey, I
they are not
wanted to
come.
become a ballet dancer, okay? And
Wow,
it's like, because like all my sisters, each of them been in some sort of sports or
wow,
traditional thing. My elder sister
yeah,
learned like Bharatanatyam, and my second sister was in karate. My third sister was in Sangeeta
wow.
music, and I was not put in any of these classes. And I opted for something very different. I
Yeah.
wanted to learn ballet, and come on, they couldn't even brain the idea, so it was a big no no. And
Big
so
no no.
there's this
Yeah.
child inside me crying why I couldn't do this.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, oh my gosh, I mean, it's such a complicated ball, isn't it? It's like so many aspects to it. So, yeah, I mean, thank you for really the courage to say that. Please don't think that you own your child, and that's absolutely what I think as well. We cannot think that way. They are separate beings actually, separate souls, so different, and I that is where I feel it really shines when the it's the job thing. When kids want something, their dreams is like maybe A, but parents have this, so clash a lot, so yeah, that's one. Okay, so how another question for you is that while boundaries can be very hard to set with parents, as kids is one thing, but as adults, because this is what I observe sometimes even with my clientele and what I observe, when I read people's posts and all that. So how do you think as adults, children itself, how can we set boundaries with our own parents? Oh, because it's a very, very tough thing to do. I
No
can tell you.
easy feat, baby.
No
Definitely.
easy. Yeah. Can you
Okay.
share how do you think we can? Because it's a power dynamic and also it's a mindset. Parents will always be parents, and they will always think, "I'm your parent. I know better." It's also ego thing as well. I would have to say it's an ego thing as well because I believe that even people, no matter how old you are, you can always learn. It's whether you want to learn or not. That is the main thing. Are you willing to come down to your adult child's level and understand from their perspective? So I absolutely don't believe that they're old already. They don't want to learn. I'm like, if they want to learn or not is up to them. So what would you say? I mean, as adult children, not even young children now. How can
Hmm.
can we set that boundary with our parents?
Brilliant question again.
Mhm.
This is also a very important question because, like, until I was 30, right, I thought my life is gone. Why I say
Oh,
that, right? Because I think I was thinking that I could never break this barrier that I have with my mother. So
okay.
I was like, not very happy, I would say. Though we had like on the external, we had very happy relationship and all those things, but I have always been doing what favors my mother. Okay, so though at some places, of course, we rebel and all that. That's like normal lah. But then, right? when I hit 30, I was like questioning this. Is this how my next 30 years gonna be? Or, is if this is gonna be the pattern that I'm gonna live in, I'm gonna actually maybe explode at one point. I knew it. I just knew it. So when I
Oh,
reached about 30, I slowly started to crack open this topic. But it was not easy. Again, it was not easy. I have to highlight it because coming from a conservative background, it was not
yeah.
easy for my mother to absorb most of the things I'm trying to communicate. Number one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And number two will be that we can never assume that the consciousness level of other person will be on par with us.
Exactly.
So maybe we evolved. We like for me, I involved myself in spiritual path, so my awareness level was totally different. But then to talk to your parents is going to be very challenging because like we just discussed, they always going to be thinking that I know better, I'm your parent, I taught you ABC. My mom used to say this to me, okay, like
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Wow.
I taught you ABC, so don't come and teach me how to do certain things. So I had to be very patient, because it's not something that you do overnight. It's not like 1 2 3, okay, it's done. No, no,
Oh,
no, no.
of course,
So it
yeah.
took me like about 3 4 years. It took me 3 4 years to slowly tell my mom. We used to fight. We used to have disagreements. Disagreements are totally fine as long as you get to the end result, the end point. You are fine. So I had to. So there was this incident that happened to me in my life. That was like the point, the checkpoint, which actually made my mom very vulnerable. So I
Ah,
used that particular point to my advantage. I
uh-huh.
told my mom, if if you have taught me to set boundary when I was younger, I wouldn't be at this point now. I told my mother that.
Oh, wow. That must be very painful
Very
for her to hear
painful.
that. Yeah, for
Yes,
her to
it's
hear
like
that.
I was hurting her, like
Yeah, yeah. It's
point
true.
blank. I was
Well,
hurting
it's,
her. I knew
yeah.
it, but I had no other choice.
Mm.
It's like my mom was like she couldn't even digest what I was saying. uh, she was like, oh, it's like I'm blaming her for what happened to me. Actually, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if you have actually taught us to have certain limits to certain things, to if you have taught us to say no, maybe we could have
Mm-hmm.
been in a better place. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying this
Mm.
happened to me because of you. No, no, no. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
after much explaining, much tears and all these things, and it took like in my family, there's no such thing as confrontation. We take some space, we reflect, we come back, and maybe we just soft talk about it. We don't go too deep into the certain topics. So same thing happened with my mom. But then I know how to tackle my mom. My mom is also a very spiritual person, so I nailed certain things into my mom's head in a very spiritual way.
Mm.
So I use my guru, my spiritual guru, as a platform to patch us. You have to
Yeah.
find a way. Seriously, you have to find a way because see, we always say that okay, communicate, go and talk, but it's not easy, especially with Asian parents. No, 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 it's
Yeah.
not easy. So
Oh,
people
oh,
can
yeah.
come and tell you, oh yeah, you will tell lie. Very easy for you to tell, but let me tell you, it's not easy. But I did it anyway, and I'm happy that I did it because today I have beautiful relationship with my mom.
That's
She
good.
understands what I want, and sometimes she asks me, sometimes she just observes me. So these kind of things only strengthened our relationship. It's not like any
Yeah.
other relationship where you can just walk away. This is your
Yeah.
family, your
Yeah.
parents, and
Yeah.
they matter the most to you, right? So you have to
Mm.
find a way to talk to them, to communicate with them in their style, not your way. You have
Mm.
to go to their way and just talk to them. They'll
So
be fine.
a lot of patience, like what I'm
A
hearing
lot
is a lot of patience, a lot of
of
tweaking here a little bit, tackling a little bit. Ooh, yeah, 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 a lot of tackling.
must
Yeah,
be
that's
very
that, but
tactful
very tactful.
because it's
Awesome.
like
Thank
we
you.
can't break their hearts, right?
Mm. Well,
So yeah.
sometimes a little bit of breaking is needed to put things back together. Ooh.
Oh, that's
So
true as well.
anyway,
So yeah,
sometimes you need to break things to put
even
it back
though like
together.
you are hurting the person, you have to do it so that you will come out of it wonderfully.
Mm.
It's
Of
like
course,
the rainbow
yeah.
after the storm. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But the hurting is the intention actually, because some things truth is I always believe truth is
Yeah.
painful and nobody wants to hear the truth.
Oh
That's the
yes.
thing.
Oh yes.
Oh, I know people say, oh, the truth matters. You know what? People don't want to hear the truth because the truth really hurts. That's why.
Yeah.
So well, thank you. Thank you so much. See, time passes so fast,
Oh yeah.
Shalini. I was like, oh my goodness.
That's why it is like heat to heart.
I'm
The last
I'm
time.
key to heart. Yeah, yeah. I'm keeping trying to keep on time. So yeah. So let's see what some of the the comments are. Sabna, oh, I love your comments. But so Sabna was saying she wanted to be a fashion designer. Now Sabna, my question to you is, it's never too late. You can still do it as a hobby. Ha ha ha. So why not? I
I
mean,
know a friend who's a doctor and then now she's an interior designer. So just
wow.
do
So
what you like
just
doing.
do it. Yeah. I mean, of course, you still keep your job, but you can always come up with a hobby as a hobby. So yeah, and definitely crazy where life takes us, lah, right? So, and she also shared, coming from her 6-year old, she feels boundaries are unfair. Boundaries are unfair, but they are needed. So it's mummy had to teach her lah what is boundary and why is it important, right, mummy? So so that's important, right? And then Uma, hi Uma, you're still here, great. So she said, breaking the boundary is not easy. Yeah, this cannot happen overnight. Absolutely, it cannot happen overnight. It really takes a lot of patience, persistence, and patience, I would say. So yeah, thank you. All right, so time is about up. So let's wrap this up. Shalini, do you have anything to say to our audience? About parents and boundaries. Again, a very very interesting topic. Yeah, any last words before we finish?
Mm, I think yes. Especially this is for parents. You can be like, young parent or budding parent, or, you have adult children is fine. The thing is, yes, ego will surface when you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about boundaries.
Yes.
Because especially for teenagers, right? They want to have boundaries, but then they were not exposed to. But when they are setting this boundary, parents will have the ego where the ego will be bruised. Lah. But I think to tell you that put your ego aside just for a while. Okay, tame your ego just for a while and try to look at the other person's perspective and what they're asking for. If what they're asking for is not too much,
Mm.
just let them go. Because by letting them go and have their boundaries, you will also be liberated. Trust me on this, because I have actually convinced some parents to do this. And when they did it, they feel liberated. They feel like, oh
Oh,
my god, I'm finally, because they don't know the children are so capable. They always want to
yes.
second guess their children's capabilities,
Actually,
right?
yes. I think that's very true what you brought up. It's a
It's
trust
space
issue
lah.
as well. Ah,
Yeah,
trust
yeah,
issue
yeah.
as well. You need to trust your children as well. Hmm.
Trust. So please don't be so hard on yourself, and don't be hard on your children, because like end of the day, whatever you are projecting to your children could be your own insecurities. So I think it's time to
Yes.
check yourself. Uh,
Yeah.
and yeah, please, healthy boundaries, beautiful. It's actually a sacred space to be in. So you will
Mhm.
feel very much at peace once you understand the real meaning of healthy boundaries. So enjoy it.
Oh, enjoy the process, right? So,
Yes,
actually, when,
yes.
when you when you said that, Shalini, I just remembered. Actually, it's very true because this is when I was younger as well. Because some parents, I remember sleepovers. I don't know, you had sleepovers at your friend's place, but when I was growing
Oh,
up,
that's a sin,
oh,
okay?
I had I was very lucky because my parents allowed me to do it. But I had a lot of friends where the parents said, absolutely not. You're not going to sleep over at your friend's place. Don't want to trouble people. But the thing is, I think because I was allowed that freedom, that kind of freedom to have sleepovers, and I did not abuse it. That's the thing. I think when you have a certain boundary, yeah, of course you have a certain freedom, but certain boundary. So I mean, my mom will be watching this, I'm sure. So thank you, mother, for allowing me. I know it's a very silly thing, but I think it's so important because I was allowed to even go out, hang out with friends, and go out to, I would say, clubs and all that with friends. But I did it. I made sure I did not mix with the wrong people. I make sure I it's some kind of an internal thing. I did not want to destroy the boundary. I mean, I respected the boundary somehow. It's very interesting now that I think about it because I was given the leeway to handle it.
Yeah,
So
I
I
think
did
it's like
not.
a reverse psychology parents also have. So it
Mhm.
is a reverse psychology. So put it to good use. Like also for children who are watching this, if your parents give you freedom, yeah, don't overstep.
Don't abuse it. So yes.
Yes,
It,
yes,
it's
yes.
it's a
That's
two-way
very
thing, like
important.
So
Yeah, it's
yeah,
how
yeah.
you uphold your own dignity, lah. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank
Nice,
you.
nice.
Nice. We made a
Wow.
good time. So Yeah, so wow. Samna, she's so funny. You're so funny, Samna. Your kids asking for stay over at 6 years old. Ayo. I don't think I did at 6 years old. I did at 12 years old. Lah, you know. Yeah. The one very young, maybe family, okay. Lah. I used to have sleepover with my cousins and all that. That was fun, definitely, you know. But that's up to you,
Yeah.
mom, you know. So, yeah,
Yeah, the
thank
kids
you.
these
Yes,
days also they're evolving too fast.
very
So
fast. They are spiritually, I believe they're evolving very fast. That's why it's hard to keep up with them. So, yeah, interesting. Yes, interesting, right, Zamna?
thank you, Miss
Awesome,
Anna.
awesome. So, I'm just
You're
going to
doing
share
great
some.
as mom. Don't be so hard on
Yeah,
yourself.
she is doing
Yeah.
great. I mean, she's handling 3 kids. Oh gosh, and she has a full-time job. So I'm like,
Wow.
you're great lah, you know, dental surgeon some more. So yeah, so I'm going to share Wild's information for those of you. Please do subscribe to Wild. Shalini is doing such great job. This NGO, and she wants to help young women to come out and heal their wounds, right? So please subscribe to the Facebook, and then of course, if you want to get to know Salini and what she does with her training, she is a fantastic trainer. Please, go and visit their website. And if you're a company you like to engage her, please go ahead as well, right? And this is her information if you want to reach the NGO. Okay, so and of course, for more updates, in 2 weeks' time, I'll have another one. In 2 weeks' time is about bullying, ladies and gentlemen. So another very big topic altogether. So I hope to see all of you in 2 weeks' time with the topic of bullying. Okay. So, all right, let's call it a night, everyone. So let's see any more comments. Thank you so much, Anu, Uma, Sapna, Mayan, my dear cousin. Thank you. she married only can sleep over. What? Okay, come on. I used to sleep over with my cousin here, Mayan. Come on, no lah. Okay, so that's funny. All right. So thank you so much, everybody. Have a great night ahead, great weekend. Stay safe. Follow the SOPs. Okay. So see you,
Thanks, Kuen.
everyone.
Thanks for this
Thank you so
topic.
much. Thank
Thanks for
you
this
for
series.
everything.
I really wish you bring up more hot topics, sizzling
Yes,
topics.
always the courageous conversation
Right.
is here to stay. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank
We need
you.
to make it. Yes, yes. Thanks,
All
thanks. Bye
right.
bye.
Bye.